Welcome back. In this lesson, we'll be covering the testing phase. You've probably heard the saying, let's walk before we run. Well, that's exactly what the testing phase is all about. This is where you'll take all the ad imagery and copy you've created from the last lessons and start to test them out in meta ads to see which ones work the best and which ones don't work at all. To make sure you don't waste any money on bad ads, we'll be starting slowly. And once you find which ads work the best, you can start spending more on the good ads. The goal of the testing system is to quickly find which ads are good while keeping your ad spend as low as possible at the same time. In this lesson, you'll learn how the testing system works and how to test your ad imagery, headlines, and primary text. Let's start with learning how the testing system works. First off, this testing system uses what we call single variable testing. Single variable testing means that when you're testing your ads, you only want to change one thing at a time. For example, if you're testing your ad imagery, you'd only want to change the image used in the ad. That means that everything else in the ad, like the headline and primary text, would remain the same. Only making one change at a time allows you to immediately understand whether one ad is performing better than another one, since the only explanation can be that change. Now, let's talk about what you should test first. So, an ad is made up of three parts: the primary text, the ad imagery, and the headline. But we don't recommend testing in the order I just said. Instead, we recommend starting with your ad imagery, then headlines, and then primary text. The reason for this order is simple. This is the order in which someone's eyes normally flow through an ad. They tend to look at the image or video first, which is the main asset that grabs their attention. After that, they'll read the headline, and then finally the primary text. Testing in this order makes sure we're getting as much attention as possible before moving on to the next test. All right, now that you understand how the testing process works, let's get into what programming each test will look like. Let's kick things off with your image test. Now, before I get started, I recommend that you program all of your ads within Meta using leads as the conversion goal, and also that you set the conversion location as website. What you're seeing on the screen now is a really helpful article from Facebook that will show you how to do this. We've also included a link to the article below. All right, back to the image test. I recommend testing 4 images. You can get by with less if you don't have a lot of images to work with, but if you use any more than 4, Meta won't be able to test effectively unless you want to spend a lot more money. When you're choosing which visual assets to test, you want to aim for significant differences. Think broadly, like an action shot, a studio shot, a location shot, or a UGC video, for example. Having big differences between the images will give you clearer insights into what catches your audience's attention. You're going to want to let the images speak for themselves, so let's pick product-focused neutral ad copy to pair with your images, as you can see here with this example. Next, let's select 4 different audiences you built in lesson 3.3 to run these ads to. As a reminder, these audiences are the people you'll be targeting across Meta. Each audience will have the same set of 4 ads, which allows you to get a better understanding of which images appeal to a larger market, instead of potentially only one working with just one audience. We recommend you let this test run for about a week and spend no more than $500 per test. That amount should be enough for you to gather meaningful data without wasting money. Through the duration of this test, you want to monitor your ad performance to make sure Meta is spending in the right places. If an ad is spending too much without getting good results, you can shut it down to force spend towards other ads that are doing better. This process is called optimization. The testing phase is a place where you'll learn what's working and what isn't, and you can gradually improve your metrics over time. After that week is up, you can figure out which ad image won by looking for which ad is getting the lowest cost per lead. All right, now you understand how to run an ad imagery test, let's talk about the headline test. In the headline test, the only variable that will change in your ads is your headline. You're going to keep the same primary text from the first image test alongside your winning ad image. You'll want to test 4 headlines that distinctly highlight different features or unique selling propositions of your product. For example, in these ads, you can see how the primary text and the winning ad image is the same, while the headline changes. For audiences, you can stick to the same ones as you used in the first test, or switch out any underperformers to see if a new target audience engages better. This headline-focused test should also run for about a week, capped at $500, mirroring what you did in the first image test. Stay consistent with optimizing your ad spend, and at the end of the test, you can evaluate the best performing headline using the same metric as before, the lowest cost per lead. All right, now you've got your winning headline. Let's move on to the final round, your primary text test. This time, it'll only be your primary text that's changing, and you'll use your winning headline and image from the previous tests. Here's an example of what a primary text test could look like. Like the previous tests, we recommend testing 4 different primary texts in this test. You have more flexibility with this test since the primary text field has way more characters that will display compared to headlines. So test out different formats or problems and solutions to figure out what your audience responds to best. The primary text test will also take around a week with no more than $500 in ad spend. After the primary text test is complete, you should have spent no more than $1,500 and you'll have finished up your initial testing phase. At this point, you should have a solid grasp of which imagery, headlines, and primary text work the best with your audience. And you'll be able to use the best performing ad metrics to see if you're ready to start scaling. In the next lesson, we'll explore advanced strategies for taking your winning ads and scaling your ad spend. We'll see you there.